Hi, how you doing? And welcome back to another video on the channel. What we have for you today is our preview video going into Game Week 24. I'm going to take a review look at how my team did in Game Week 23 and then talk team selection, transfer advice and captaincy thoughts moving forward. If you are new to the channel, please do subscribe. We have passed 300 subscribers recently, which is a huge achievement. So thank you so much for everyone who's been supporting the channel. Honestly, it really is appreciated. Whilst we've got you here, once you've finished watching this video, why not go check out my latest wildcard video for the double game week, as well as my new video on the assistant manager chip, what it is and how to use it best for your own team. So hopefully they will help you out with your own thoughts moving forward as well. But let's get into this one, and we're going to start by reviewing how my team did in Game Week 23. And overall, it wasn't the best. It was okay. We had a red arrow of about 40k, which isn't the end of the world as long as you don't have them too often. But we did do well with the point scoring in goal. We did talk a couple of game weeks ago about maybe moving on Raya because he just wasn't getting the clean sheets. Not only did he get a clean sheet against Wolves, he got a save point and 2 bonus points. And that's really useful. You know, when your big point scoring players who you usually rely on, or the rest of your team don't score points, Raya is the sort of player where 9 points makes a massive difference for your overall score. You know, if he hadn't got those, if Arsenal had conceded, that'd have put me on like 51 points, 52 points, and it would have been a much bigger red arrow. So I'm very grateful for him scoring those points, and he lives to see another day in my fantasy league team. Into defence was where it wasn't as great. I did make the transfers I was talking about in my preview video last game week, and one of those was bringing Trent in for Colwill. He got an assist. Liverpool aren't keeping clean sheets in general at the moment, but because Trent is playing so well from an attacking point of view, should Liverpool actually keep a clean sheet, he's on for a massive haul, and it could happen sooner rather than later. Robinson and Hall, you know, they didn't really do much this game week, but for the price I got them in, which was like 4.4, 4.5 million, they've been really overperforming all season long. So they've got a ton of credit with me, and I don't mind them occasionally blanking, especially because that's what your cheap defenders are supposed to do, really. Bednarek on the bench didn't come on this game week. Last week he scored and was on my bench and came on, and I got his points. No such luck this game week, but who would have predicted him scoring in back-to-back game weeks? You know, a Southampton defender. So, you know, you take it as it comes. Sometimes you get the luck off your bench. Sometimes you're stuck with points on your bench. That's just how it is. But in hindsight, I wouldn't have put him on ahead of either of the defenders that blanked for me. So into midfield, and McAllister was the transfer I made here, really with the double in mind, but that Ipswich game, I was hoping for something. It was a toss-up between him and Szoboszlai, and I went for McAllister because of the minutes security. You know, Szoboszlai's minutes leading up to the Ipswich game were just so patchy, and he was playing well, but I thought, you know, if he's on the bench, it doesn't really matter how well he's playing if he only gets 10 minutes. So in the end, they both started. McAllister blanked and Szoboszlai got a goal and an assist and was looking really lively once again. So obviously, in hindsight, Szoboszlai's the better pick, but I still stand by the reasons why I went for McAllister, and hopefully over sort of the next 2 or 3 game weeks, it'll average out and he'll end up scoring either just as many points as Szoboszlai or maybe even overtaking him. I did captain Salah, which was the right choice in midfield. And also, even though someone like Alexander Isak got 13 points, it is very rare that you captain the highest point scoring player in your team. And captaincy at the moment just seems to be a lot more tactical. You know, everybody captained Salah last game week. All the active FPL managers will have captained Salah. And therefore, it's just too much of a risk to go for someone like Isak, because sure, Isak could outscore Salah, but if it does go wrong, the risk is just really outweighs the reward, and you could really see a massive drop in your rank. So it's a lot about security for captaincy at the moment, which is a little bit boring, but sometimes you've just got to play it strategically in FPL. We also brought in Ndai, and he got the goal, he got penalty, scored it, and some bonus points for 8 points. So there's quite a lot of points knocking about on my bench for this last game week. And it just goes to show that in any game week, you can play your bench boost. We always say, you know, if you look at your starting 11 and the players on your bench, those players on your bench you wouldn't mind starting, just play your bench boost, because that's probably the game week where they'll score the most points. And if you can get 15 plus points from your bench boost, I think it's one of those chips where you just play it whenever you feel like that sort of situation is happening. So let's take a look at captaincy options for this game week. And it's really important to remember that it's a double game week, but it's equally important to know that these game weeks are a week and a half apart. So, sorry, the start and the end of the game weeks are a week and a half apart. And part of that is because the FA Cup is in the weekend in between. But it also means you've got quite a lot of time for potential injury risks to happen in between sort of the Liverpool and Everton playing on the Saturday and then playing the following Wednesday. Does that mean you captain a single game week player? Absolutely not. I think you absolutely need to captain a double game week player whenever there is a double game week. And whether you should captain an Everton or a Liverpool player should hopefully be quite obvious. I definitely wouldn't captain an Everton player. Sure, like any other game week, there's a chance that one of those players outscores all the Liverpool players, but the odds are so minimal, and the odds of you getting that correct player and captaining them is just so unlikely. You just have to hedge your bets with Liverpool. So then that brings us on to which Liverpool players. Well, Salah is the must captain, really. If you absolutely wanted to take a massive risk, you could go for someone like Trent. But Liverpool have only kept 2 clean sheets in the last 9 games, and they've scored 30 goals in that time frame as well, in their last 9. So it really makes sense to captain an attacker. I wouldn't just try and get too clever and go for a Gakpo or a Diaz. I would just captain Salah. I know, like we said, it's boring, but you just need to sort of go with that and realise that the downside of not captaining Salah and then him getting a massive points haul could, to be honest, sort of end your fantasy league season from a competitive point of view. So it sounds a little dramatic, but you just have to play it strategically at this stage of the season. And then as the season goes on, as long as you're in contention for where you want to be, then you can take some of those risks. So talking about my team for this game week, I'm pretty happy with it, mainly because I used those 3 transfers and I had 5 I could use on players who all had double game weeks. So they're in the starting 11. I think you're absolutely fine with 2 or 3 Liverpool players and then 1 Everton player. You know, if you already have Pickford in goal and you've had him all season, then I think you could get someone like an Ndai as well, or maybe even Beto, now that Calvert-Lewin looks like he's injured. But I don't think you need more than 1 Everton player for the double. I think sometimes people can overplay double game weeks, and it's nice to have, but I think if you've got 4 out of 6 double game week players for this game week, that's more than enough. I wouldn't try and, break your team apart and break the bank of your transfer funds and therefore affect future game week transfers by getting in too many, because Everton aren't a team that are scoring lots, and because they play each other, they're kind of going to cancel each other out at some point. It's not like loads of teams have double game weeks and they're not going to play each other, because Everton play Liverpool and it's the only double. If Everton score, there goes the Liverpool clean sheet and vice versa. So I just think, get some, but don't get too many, because you also have to bear in mind that you're probably not going to want these Everton players for much longer other than the double. So is that going to take up loads of transfers, getting them in, and then the same amount of transfers, getting them out again? What other plans could you do with your transfers to maximise your team's point scoring? So let me know in the comments how many double game week players you've got. Let me know if you've got any plans for your transfers or any questions, and likewise if you think I'm missing anything with my own team, rather than don't mention about get Szoboszlai in for McAllister, because I've made me bed with that and I've got to go with it. But anything else you want to chat FPL, we're always more than happy to chat. Go check out those other videos. Please do subscribe. Hopefully you had a good game week, and I will see you in the next one.